We got our own Clika. Strong Clika. 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 That's all we got is Clika. 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 Can you respect?
Welcome to Clika Podcast, episode 67. And we have a very special guest tonight. You want to introduce yourself?
Well, yes. Okay, so yeah, my name is Zero Elvu, and I use the last part Elvu, and El meaning the, Vu meaning the book, gotten from the Quiche Maya Popol Vuh. And that was like my greatest art piece. It's like 4 projects, you know, two full albums and 2 EPs.
Didn't you mean the Book of Truth?
Or
something like that?
The Popol Vuh? Mm-hmm. The Popol Vuh translate into it's the Good Counsel book. Mm-hmm. So, and then you go, okay, well, it's like the Bible. You know, I'm going to read it and I'm going to understand it. But that book is a metaphor for constellations and positions. And when those positions happened, these stories came to earth. Mm-hmm. So it's not just as simple as, oh yeah, look at the rules. Mm-hmm. No, it's opening your body and mind, connecting with the earth that you live on, and looking straight up into the sky and putting your footprint in those stars.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Now, you seem like a very deep thinker. And then what made you chose this avenue, this genre of music to spread your message or to express your message?
Hip-hop?
Yeah.
Music? I was telling the brothers I used to be in a rock band. I used to be a singer, right? I thought I was pretty good. I was really young, but, you know.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
So, you know, getting my first experience about what it's like to be a recording artist. And so I do this band, and then I got like, but I wrote these poems when I was like in 14. I'm performing them at 17, but I wrote this when I was 14. It's like, I don't really want to like. So, you know, some guy leaves a Bob Marley tape at my friend's house. And I'm sorry, I'm being long-winded about this simple question.
No, please. That's why you're on a podcast. It's long form.
But I swear to you, it's going to have a point of why I'm a hip-hop artist.
No, do it, man.
So, guy leaves a Bob Marley tape. I'm into like The Cure and KRQ music. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. Back then, I was a kid. And so, you know, I go, what's this tape? Put in tape. That's how old it is. Put the tape in, right? And I listen to it. I'm super stoned. And I'm like, huh? You could write about this? You could write about how you don't like this. You don't like about God. You could write about that. You don't like about the system. You could write about. I didn't know you could write about it. Like, for some reason, internally, I didn't put together my art as being a weapon of expression. It was more like, how cool can I be to write this song, and look how famous can I get, and, you know, the aspirations of a young man. And so, but when I put it together, when I went, fuck, you can write about the way you feel, about what's happening to you, like the cop that just pulled me over and la la la. Mm-hmm. So then, you know, I grow dreads and I go, we're going to be a reggae band now. So the lead singer for Quito Sol, you know, goes, okay, cool. And, you know, we had Martin and the foundation was there. And so that really inspired Robert from Quinto Sol to start writing some really profound songs. And they were so profound that it intimidated me. I didn't want to. I didn't feel like I could write those songs and can sing it that way. And so the illusion of being a singer started disappearing. But at the same time, I started listening to KRS-One, BDP, Public Enemy. And there was still a platform where I can express myself through, you know, word, but not maybe singing, but as a poet, maybe, or a hip-hop artist. Mm-hmm. That's what I am, a hip-hop artist. And so that's how I became a hip-hop artist.
Wow.
And I said, well, this is the vehicle I'm going to use to do what Bob Marley did, but not like Bob Marley. Like, I don't have to have dreads. I don't have to think I'm from Africa. I'm going to tell our story. In this way. That's how I became a hip-hop artist.
That's dope.
That's beautiful.
How long have you been doing it?
I wrote my first. I put out my first record, a hip hop record, in 1999. It's called the Calpuli record, and that was more of an executive and a traditional producer. In other words, getting the musicians in place. Maybe not what people think today as a producer, where I made all the beats. That's a producer. For me, like if I come from the school of like Led Zeppelin or any of the Doors, any of the classic, they had a producer. They had somebody reviewing their music and guiding their story. So that's the kind of producer I was for Calpuli. And I felt like I accomplished this first step into this hip hop world, with that. And it was a very, very aggressive, militant project. The guys that rapped on it were very, very angry people, and they had a right to be. I understand that now. Then it was kind of like, whoa, it's really like, whoa. It was just like, wow. I didn't like to say that I wanted to hurt anybody.
Got you.
And especially because they're white. But now, as a genocide survivor, I'm not saying that I feel or want to hurt anybody. But I can understand how someone can get to that point and say that.
Yeah, I think it was like the sign of the times back in those days when they had hard rock groups and they were spitting their, it's all their anger coming out manifested in words like Rage Against the Machine or Cypress Hill or Public Enemy. It was that, what did they call it? The mind state. It was knowledge of self era.
Right.
And a lot of it was like political and, like we don't want to say it was racial, but I think it was the movement, and we were starting to identify that.
And it's going back to like even like 1979 with in the DC movement with the Bad Brains.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like one of like the first like political, not I wouldn't say the first, but like as far as like racial goes, they were like one of the first like political bands out there.
Yeah.
That were doing it that way when they had that certain message.
Yeah.
In a music that was predominantly white. I hate to say the black and white thing. I don't like that. I don't like to use that.
It's a thing though.
But that was a
industry.
thing. It was an industry. Like you heard like songs like "Banned from DC," and those very politically charged. Like nobody else in that genre. In a genre full of political music, they were like the most political act. And that's what I respect them the most. That's why they were one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, that's badass. And like you mentioned Bob Marley and KRS. Even KRS has a song called "Oh Yeah," where he mentions, I've been to the planet before. I was Bob Marley and I was Malcolm X. Now I'm on the planet called KRS. Right. And like you manifested that with your voice. Right. And you can hear it in your music.
Oh, thank you.
And a minute ago, I had to pause you for a second because you were coming across a really good topic. You said the Toltec way. Could you describe that to us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how I conceptualized us as a people is I had to figure out like, well, a lot of people put very specific brands on themselves, and by no disrespect to anybody who does know where they're from and how they can prove it and all that stuff, I'm coming from a place where I can't even prove it. And I'm looking at the person that looks like a native, and she can't tell me where, And then she probably could ask her grandmother or her mom, and she can't tell you where. So that tells me something. That tells me that they were babies, that they ran away from the reservation before they got stamped with something. Hopi, Lakotas, whatever. They were not nice people. They fucking took kids and they threw them in trains and they didn't care where you were from. They weren't going, well, let me see. Did you come from this region? Does it sound familiar? No.
People just are afraid of other people that are different, and then they just want to label them.
Right. But
put them in a box.
But my point is that I'm coming from a perspective that can't tell you what indigenous lineage, but I know it's there. It's evident, right? And, you hear my voice, you hear my mannerisms, the way I treat my children, the way I treat my women, my wife, or other women is what I meant to say. Like how I treat and view women, that's native. And that comes from a place. So what I'm trying to say out of all that is that the Toltec way is not Toltec people. and I didn't come from a grandfather who was Toltec. The Toltec way is the dream state, right? A human who has mastered his life dream. That's the Toltec way. And the only way you do that is by walking in truth. Only then can you really control your dream state. Because if not, you're in a manipulated state. You're manipulating your way to this wherever it is. But I'm walking in truth. And if I walk in truth, I have to say, I don't know who my grandfather, what reservation, what. I don't know.
We're all mestizos right now.
That's what they say. But I am a human who has realized his dream state. And that's why I'm here talking to you about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Very deep.
That's real deep, dude.
Well, it's decolonized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need a white man's signature on anything to tell me who I am.
You know what? We're all related in that same thread, in that same ribbon. And I think that no matter what the walk of life that we choose, our path, we all can agree on that native, that feeling of Aztecs, Toltecs, you know.
I'll tell you why. Because,
It's in our blood.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
We
Your
grab
mom
it.
carried it. The women carry it. They carry that blood and they transfer that blood. So what I've come to realize is that that blood can be coded because every blood cell is separate from itself. It's its own entity. So that means it gives its own vibration. So when we look at a bully walk in a room and we feel this anxiety,
Yeah.
that's not your mind. That's your blood.
It's your blood.
Sometimes he can walk in from the door and you didn't even see him,
But you
You
felt
feel
but
it.
you felt it.
Yes.
It's a gut.
Because your blood is going to shake and vibrate at a certain thing. So what does that tell you? That's one of those blood cells. And we have trillions of them in our bloodstream.
Yes.
Is an abuelo. It came back from that time. That's the way I feel. That's what teaches me. That's what's telling me this. Is trusting that sangre. Even enough to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was maybe not the right person to learn from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you cross that path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The learning.
Yes.
You know, those that don't learn from it and continue to repeat it, that's different. But
because you choose to ignore it.
when you learn from it,
Yeah.
then it becomes a weapon on your soul,
Exactly.
and you use it and you pull it out whenever you need to. Right?
That's
you
what builds
survive.
you-
That
builds
is
your-
the dream
Your
state,
strength.
and that's beyond. If people hear me talk and I wouldn't say that I was native, they would be, "Oh, that's crazy native right there," right? Right? But I didn't say, "Oh, I'm Zero Lakota from this place." You know what I mean? I didn't say that. I don't, and that's why I go back to the Mesoamerican way before conquest, because there was a story before conquest, and I chose from that time this path. Which
Yeah.
is the Toltec way.
And you can walk with that and feel a certain confidence. Yeah, like today, I had to do something that was, I'm fighting for the rights for my son, and like you can feel like the negative energy trying to keep me away from that. And before I walked in to the courthouse, I prayed, but I really prayed to God. I don't really, everybody has their own religion. That's not really my thing talking about it, but I prayed to the earth, through the elements. And I walked in there and it was a windy day and I walked in there with confidence, knowing, I'm about to get my son because I asked Mother Earth to give me my rightful son. And walking in there with that power, people can feel that. And that's what you were just talking about. You talk to the elements, you talk to the sun, you talk to the earth, like bring me in with that confidence. And people feel that. That's, like what you're talking about. It's
Well,
an
I have
awesome feeling.
I have to be that way because I don't have documentation that says that I am this. You know what I mean? And so that's okay for me. I don't care about that ability to do that. What I care about is passing on a perspective to my sons and daughters that they're gonna pass on and improve on and then they'll pass on and improve on, and so on and so on and so on. That's the way. You know, when Cuauhtemoc said his last mandate, which was the Mexica leader, you know, he said that our sun would end in 500 years of darkness, but that our great grandchildren of our grandchildren of our grandchildren of our grandchildren will remember. And then we'll start again.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys are familiar with the mandate?
Very familiar.
Okay. So then we're on the same page. We are that people.
Yeah.
Now, how good can you get at getting those medicines and hooking up with whatever you need to teach to them, to improve upon, so they can immediately snap back into a profound state of understanding, connecting with pyramids, connecting with things that are there, that have been left there
For us
from
to
their
follow.
great grandfather, who said one day my great grandson is gonna come here.
We end in dark so you can begin in light.
Yeah.
Yeah. We give them the
That's
truth.
the way I feel.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. That's the way I feel.
Yes.
Like soaking it all in, dude.
Wow.
Like that.
You know, I actually did a show with you in Downey. It was you and Pause One, and I was DJing for, you know, I was doing my showcase thing, and then for other MCs, but you had like the dancers with you. You're playing the flute, or I don't mean to say flute, whatever ceremonial, music instrument was.
Right.
You were doing that, and I saw it and I was like, oh my God. Because it hit home, because that was my last show in LA before I moved to Texas. I was like, oh man, look how I ended it. And it was great, man. It was something else. It hit the soul. It was just like, oh my God. And I got to wear, it was like right in front of me. And I bought a shirt from you, and it was like a bright orange.
Right.
And I asked you, it was like, what it meant. And I was like, man, I wore that shirt until the paint fell out, until all the calendar, it was just all white ink. But I saw you once, and it was an unforgettable show. Right, man. So it's an honor to have you here. What are you working on right now, man?
Right now, I'm doing 4 songs that I'm going to concentrate on. One of them is going to be with Robert from Quinto Sol, you know, because I had wrote these lyrics, I think, that really kind of explained the Chicano experience for me, like what that poem, and I felt like I need to go back home. I need to go back where I started, the foundation of everything that I do now, and to hopefully, and, you know, I go, hey, you want to do this with me? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, I bet you, when we started writing songs together, it was so easy to do that. But I have that planned. And then I have some other hip hop tracks that I'm working on. And then I want to do a full length beat album. Because I make beats. I produced the, Jaguar Prophecies and Evolution, all the El Boo projects. I produced them. So I want to go into just a straight, sonic, I'm going to call it the silent road to nowhere.
Nice.
It's cool.
But it's going to be a beat album.
Nice.
What are you using to make beats?
I use Machine.
Oh, cool.
I use Pro Tools. And I sample records. Like,
There
I
you go.
sample records.
Dope.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like
old
the
school
traditional ways of doing it, because it just has a certain art to it. And then there's some guys I'm like, oh yeah, there's this bank of samples that are royalty free, and I was like, yeah, but you didn't pick the samples. Like, it's kind of other people pick samples for you.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get that unique sound. So
It's generic almost.
yeah, almost. A lot of the music that it doesn't need. It's we're in the era where it's not important to be talented. It's just, are you willing to do what I'm asking you to do?
I know what you're talking about, because I got the Machine too. I know which ones
Yeah.
all the sample. But if you flip them,
Yeah.
they're dope. That thing
that's
is
the creative
dope.
part.
Yeah, yeah.
That is the creative part.
Yeah.
But traditionally, I like, getting a crazy record. Like, I saw one that just said traditional songs of Mexico played in guitar and violin. I was like, where are you gonna find that? You can't find
Right?
that. You can't find that on the sound bank.
So what is it that you look for? What kind of records you look for to make your music?
What do I what?
What kind of music you look for?
I just look for just interesting album covers, and then I read it and I listen to I look at the instruments that are on there, and then I go, oh, okay, or some classic records, because I was a big fan of like Sick Jackin'.
Oh yeah,
And like
Hell yeah.
he had
Dude.
that classic,
Hell yeah.
and I go, oh, I bet you I could do that. It never sounded that way. Everything I was sampling was sounding native, and everybody comes up to me, they're like, oh, dude, I want to buy beats off you. I want that native sound. I'm like, but I'm sampling the classic. I don't sound like Sick Jacket.
You just make it. You just make it sound like that.
Yeah.
You give it that flavor.
Dude,
Well, I mess with pitches, and I don't traditionally like, sample something that's like in a 4-bar thing. I just do like a 1 bar, and I'll manipulate that 1 bar and then kind of hook it up with other things. So I'm excited to do the beat album, but a lot of things are coming to me in terms of writing. So it's a really crucial time right now. What we're experiencing as a people, and we can fall into another negative cycle and survive the racism again, or just understand our positions, pool our strengths, and work for ourselves like our great grandfathers told us that we would.
yeah,
That's the way I feel.
Yeah, you can definitely see it with like the signs of the time, but like what you're speaking on, we already seen this. They've done it before.
Right.
It's just like they're just repeating the cycle, and we're the ones to witness it. But we already know what to do because we already know our strengths, and we can get past it again. You know, it was already written. We will survive it.
Well, once we learn the principle, once you understand what it is that we're kind of up against, right? And once you decolonize, I wore this shirt on purpose, let people know that. And what does that mean? I guess maybe I'll ask one of you guys. What do you guys think it means, decolonize?
I think it's when the white people come through and they make their agenda your agenda.
Right.
If you agree with
Or you're
it,
following it.
or you're following it,
this agenda.
they make you become a part of it.
So what I did in terms of as to have a contrast, not that you're right or wrong, because that's not the point. The point is that for my version of decolonization is stripping away any thought, spirituality, diet practice, understanding that came from Europe. What does that leave you with? Nothing. It leaves you with yourself. Right? So I am vegan, or on my way to being vegan, because I do sneak cheese in sometimes. It's kind of hard.
It's one of the hardest ones.
But not because it's a trend, but because my ancestors ate vegan. We didn't have cows. We didn't have this way of living. It's okay. That's gone, right? Because I have a good friend. He's like, well, what do you mean? You're not totally decolonized. You still drive a car. It's like, yeah, but I'm not trying to say that I'm not going to use things. I'm saying I'm minimizing their power. And not the greatest thing. The car is not the greatest thing invented. That pyramid that sits in Chichen Itza, that's the greatest thing invented. When you stand in front of it and you clap in front of it, it sounds like a bird. How do you do that? How does a car do that? This is a structure that has been there for thousands of years. That right there, my friend, is what I'm talking about. Is connecting with that. And to do that, you have to erase every single lie that a European told you. And that means everything. Everything. Your school, your religion, the way you eat, everything.
Your history.
That, to me, is decolonized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Best as I can.
That's exactly how I figured it was, but I couldn't really put the words together. And it's real interesting. You bring up the pyramids. I studied. That's kind of like my thing.
Yeah.
I check out how the pyramids were made from different continents. There's 9 different continents. They're all built along the equator, the sun line, and they're all pyramids of the sun, stemming from Peru to Mexico, Egypt, all of them. And how do you feel that you think, of course, how they constructed it, the way they tell it was a lie.
Everything.
Yes,
I said everything.
It's all of it.
Everything. The documentary I saw, the book I read,
all of it.
The professor who says he's the greatest of all the greatest.
To guess. I think.
Everything. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when the schools or universities were established back in the 1800s, they were funded by rich oligarchs. And those oligarchs gave a timeline and a time frame and and a meaning to everything that you believe you are. And they have no idea what we are.
Do you think they were constructed by higher beings that came to visit?
I think it was us understanding rhythms and cycles. When I tell you the book, the Popol Vuh, is a metaphoric story of constellation position.
Math.
You know, all that stuff takes a profound amount of time. Let's ask this. And here's my theory, and this is where people get, you know, I may become a little controversial, but what do you think? How long do you think it takes to build a pyramid?
I think it was not even years. I think it was like centuries, to be honest with you. I don't think it was like something overnight.
Like how many?
Minimum 1 century.
Right.
Minimum.
So you're saying 100 years.
At least.
I'm saying 1,000 years.
Yeah, it could be.
Why? I'll tell you why. Because when you're trying to position a building under a star, it takes lifetimes. And so my great grandson would have I would have had to given my great grandson my documents of positioning the star, and he takes it and he's his whole life. So now he's an old man and he's going, I'm almost there. Here you go, the baby. Right? And he takes it and takes another, and so on and so forth. And now we have this perfect position of a pyramid that was started by so-and-so 500 years ago.
I think some were built instantly to give them an example. Some, because the precision and the way they were cut, so like especially the ones that they were the Nazca ones, where they're just, you couldn't even put a piece of paper through it, you know. And the ones in Mexico, like you can't like it's a landing strip. It looks like a landing strip,
right?
You know, I think some were built, and then the other ones they showed them how to do it using math
and I agree with like the profound thoughts like that. You know, that's a decolonized understanding, because you're going, well, you know, what, you're not explaining all of it. But that's what education is. It's not there to explain all of it. It's not there to question it. It's not there. It's there to keep you in a, oh, don't look at that. It's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a crazy thought.
You know? So then really you're in this, confined in this understanding and box that someone else decided
to tell you
what the limits of what your understanding is. I don't know specifically, but I do know that when you understand your dream state, anything's possible.
Yeah, like the one they had where the guy was looking through like a helmet and he's looking up and he's mapping the stars. It's incredible.
We were incredible. We are incredible. We still are incredible, no matter what.
Yeah.
We still are here. You're here. I'm here. You're fighting for your child like I would back then.
Yeah.
You know, we're still the same people. We're just being taught a doctrine with someone else's agenda.
Who dropped the bottle cap? I'm sorry.
That was me.
You're right. It's when you realize it or you're aware of it, you can feel it. Other people can feel it because our people understand energy and how to displace it or place it.
Well, we go right, you know, coming from what people call Mexican or native, whatever. Right away, we go to plants. You know, oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, wait, let me get this plant.
Yeah.
That's not something she needed to explain to you because she already knows. But where did that wisdom come from? Where did it had to be passed on from
generations
then, right?
and more than that.
So that's why it's important to understand food, because the food that they used to eat was engineered food over thousands and thousands and thousands of years, because we were in existence in thousands. There's never a story of the Maya where it's like, oh yeah, he only did like 100. No, it's like thousands. Like, whoa, this period was from 1,000 to whatever 1,000. You know, and you conceptualize like, imagine 1,000 years from now. You know?
Yep. Just take 10 of your years. Imagine that.
Right.
Imagine hip hop 1,000 years from now.
Exactly. Exactly. That thought.
I think about that all the
It's
time.
barely at like 50. So imagine.
I think about it all the time. Like, where are we headed to? You know, like A lot of people say, "Oh, it sucks. Hip hop sucks right now," but it's just an evolution. You know, there's gonna
It's
be
growing out of it
It's
already.
growing out of it. We're gonna be in 100, 200, 300 years from now.
There's some really dope hip hop. It just doesn't have the platform that we all desire.
You know what?
You know?
And that's my favorite topic. I always try to catch everybody off guard. Like, what are you guys listening to right now? What are you listening to right now?
Me?
The song that gets you, that your go-to, where you repeat it. When you start it, at the end, you flip it again.
You know, right now I'm on a lot of instrumental stuff, like Flying Lotus.
Okay.
You know, so I do that kind of stuff. And then I'm into this folk singer called Knuckle, Medicine for the People. And I am into California reggae, like Revolution,
Oh, man.
and
Yeah.
Me too.
like Soulja.
Yeah.
Nice.
A lot of people go, "Oh, you're a hip hop artist," but all I listen to is reggae. I mean, I just don't, and not because I don't like hip hop. It's not it at all. It's just that I don't want to go and reference, because that's, I think, what the problem is sometimes, is that people go, "Oh, wow, I could do it better than Eminem," and they just write this really complex thing that's kind of a little bit better than Eminem, but kind of sounds like Eminem. And I don't try to go there. I try to go somewhere else.
You have to step out of your element.
Yeah.
You have
Completely.
to. You have to.
Like,
have to do it.
completely out of it. Like, I'm a Cali reggae fan. That's really
Dope.
where I'm at. And
Dope.
Nako, and, you know, a lot of instrumental beat stuff.
That's a vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bahgo, who you got?
Actually, right now I'm listening to a lot of Menahan Street Project, the Menahan Street Band.
Who's
They
that?
do a lot of jazz, funk, based off, you know, like the Budos Band. You guys heard
Oh,
of
okay,
that
Budos
like
Band,
that,
yeah,
that
yeah.
type of the same label, same people.
Okay.
So I'm into all that right now, man. I'm not into lyrics, you know. I'm more into the music. So right now I'm heavily into that stuff, man.
Cool. Rec, what you got?
Just because of the mood I've been in, fucking Portishead, dude.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, just because of the mood I've been in.
Any track particular? Like,
Just a dummy album, the whole thing, dude.
That was
It's a fire,
Were you
actually.
playing that earlier? Was that?
No, that was Chris playing it earlier.
Oh, okay, nice.
I was giving out that trip hop vibe when you were doing live graffiti.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but like
Right.
that. I think the song I've been listening most is "It's a Fire."
okay,
Yeah, I don't know why it's just been like hitting me, dude.
cool.
Yeah,
Dummy's a dope album. I love that album.
hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
I was gonna make my pick the new Eminem album, but honestly, like for the past 2 weeks, I've been listening to the old Black Sabbath album, the self-entitled one.
Sabbath, Bloody
first
Sabbath,
one?
or
Yeah,
First one.
the first one with the
Yeah,
it was
first
like
one.
red.
yeah,
Yeah, man, I've been listening to a lot of that. It's man. It's written. It's like punk artists, like they got their whole style from that song.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
fucking song, and it's got hip hop drums in it. It's got blues in it.
it's definitely got jazz in it.
It's got
more,
jazz.
It's more jazz than it is blues.
Well, the
But then
drummer.
it drops out
Bill Ward.
and does like some punk shit, and then it went back into the blues. Like
Fuck yeah.
it's a
Pretty cool.
badass fucking.
You know the
album.
story how you got they got their sound, right? You know that story?
From what it was it Muddy Waters?
No. The guitar player cut the finger.
Oh yeah, the metal, heavy metal.
Yeah,
Oh, snap.
he was working a job, and then they got signed. And the last day of work, he chopped off the tips of his fingers
Why?
by accident
Yeah,
at
accident.
work.
It was a work accident.
Oh
So
shit!
he accidentally chopped off the tips of his fingers. So what he did is he made little rubber fingertips, and he couldn't play the guitar in standard tuning anymore. So he had a down tune. So that gave the music a completely different sound.
But didn't he put metal around his fingers? He put metal around his
No,
fingers.
no,
and-
they were rubber. They were rubber.
Oh, yeah?
They
There's
were
something
like-
about like that's what gave it the term heavy metal.
No,
it
no,
actually had
nah.
metal in there. No.
Nah.
Heavy metal came from that song, the Born to Be Wild. The lyric heavy metal thunder. That's where it came from.
Joe, what you got?
Well, I've been listening to some reggae. One song I'm stuck on is Attention Span. I really like that one.
From Revolution?
Yes.
That's my cut.
I play it over and over. It's actually, I like it.
I like that song.
So
I'm gonna get you into some Trojan shit.
yeah.
The Trojan jams are like from the Trojan records, so the old '60s reggae.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's
You
stuff
can
right
never
there.
go wrong with reggae.
No, you can't.
Who you got,
Never.
Chris?
I've been listening to Lou Reed, the New
What?
York album,
What?
all week long.
What the hell?
Yeah, I love Lou Reed. Lou Reed's one of my favorite artists.
He's badass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest samples over there. Lou Reed. Hey, that's a fucking racist ass song. You heard that shit? It is. I heard it with the lyrics. I'm like, this fucking racist bastard.
Don't break it down. You're gonna ruin it. But you know what?
Listen to it and get back to it. Don't at me, bro.
Yeah, and even the story behind it.
Jesus,
dude. He's fucking
dude.
nuts.
He's just so fucking New York,
Yeah.
you know, and then he just like documents the environment, and it's a snapshot of New York City at that time.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with Velvet Underground.
The whole CBG.
He's fucking
group.
fresh. He always comes out with some Ray-Bans and shit.
Yeah,
Always dressed in black.
that song "Looking for the Man."
That's that popcorn shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Fucking racist bastard.
Like I said, I don't think he's racist. I think he's just like just reporting what he sees.
Well, similar. That's what hip hop is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because
all it
people
is.
like what you were talking about, man. You know, oh, I thought you were a hip hop artist, but hip hop is the only genre of music that's built off of other music.
Everything.
So you can't just say, oh, that's some hip hop and just hear some drums and shit. Like, nah, you can hear some Russian music, you can hear ballet, you can hear some, symphony type music. Sample that, put it on some drums. That's hip hop.
Yeah, you throw some
You know,
hard,
you
beat, some
can't-
hard boom bap shit on it. You're done. Like
I think that's people who think, inside of a body. Oh, that's hip hop. Like, man, hip hop is of the world, and we mentioned on it. It's only like 50 years old. So like, whatever you bring to the table, that's hip hop, and it's up to us to bring our own style of it. You know, I have a idea of what it is. You have an idea of what it is, but it can't be put in a little box. And I think that's hip hop, because you can make it whatever you want. And that's the cool shit about it. You can be your own superhero, your own comic book in your version of your hip hop.
This is hip hop according to Hectick.
According to me.
Yeah.
But according to
This
you,
is
it could be
yeah.
something else. Like, it can be.
It's an interpretation of yourself, basically. What you're saying.
Yeah.
it's the way you dress, the way you talk. I mean, it's everything. It's not just music.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people misunderstand about hip hop. They only think it's hip. It's the music. It's like it's your way of being, the way you talk. You know, right away people could tell you, oh, that was a hip hop head, just because of the kind of words you use. Oh, that was a hip hop head. You know, like, oh yeah, like yeah, and what? What, fool?
Yeah. Or you know what? I just moved over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I went to a U-Haul place, dropping off the truck, and I saw another dude dropping off a truck, but he had a Beat Junkie shirt on.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, hey, that's a dope Beat Junkie shirt. He was like, oh, you know about the Beat Junkie? 'Cause that must be a hip hop head. And it's that spirit. It's that, oh, okay. And it brings people together. I was listening to Erykah Badu. She has a song called The Healer, and she said hip hop is bigger than religion, because in some sense it is, but it's not bigger than the gods, but some of religion that, what we're talking about. But it brings people together that otherwise wouldn't be together. But you come together in the name of hip hop, that spirit, that knowledge of self. Because if you know what hip hop is, and you feel the vibe, like that's a hip hop head. That guy's fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How did you get into hip hop?
Yeah.
When I started the reggae band, there was a brother that used to rap with Quinto Sol, and he was a real hip hop head, and he used to just like record on VHS tape.
Oh, wow.
MTV raps and all that stuff. So we'd go to his house, and I wasn't particularly interested. I actually really didn't like it. I thought it was like fake. Like, I wanted to be like Led Zeppelin. I wanted to be like fucking,
You want to play music.
I wanted to
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
be a
play the-
musician.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
think that was being a musician, and until I actually sat down in front of a beat machine and started making stuff like through the MPC.
Yeah.
And I used a Korg Triton. And so I've used several different machines and gotten to machine, which is more a computer-based
Yeah.
thing.
It's not a standalone.
Yeah.
It's all like, it's a controller. Now.
Exactly. And you're working in the software there. So I kind of evolved into it. So yeah, that's how I started it. making the beats. Did I answer that question?
No, it's perfect, man.
Where can people find your music? And
You can find El Vu's music on any stream.
Google it.
'Cause,
I found
you know,
a bunch, man.
You know what's weird is that, you know, I still have and this is the interesting part about being a recording artist is that, you know, I put that record out in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2020,
Nice.
and people still reference that.
Yeah.
They hear that record and they feel like, oh, well, when did you put this out? They're like, when you were like 5.
It's timeless, man. Music is timeless. It's like
Yeah,
what
and
you did
if you
with-
Good music is timeless.
Yeah.
if you could create something that still be listened to like 18 years later,
Yeah.
you know, that's where I kind of felt like, okay, cool. Wow, this is what
Yeah,
I
because
wanna
some of the stuff I found from you guys,
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like it was probably recorded a year ago, man.
do. No.
I fucking loved it, dude.
Wow,
I honestly
thank you.
did.
Thank you.
And that's kind of what I saw you live at the Conejo show, taking pictures there.
Right.
I have this standing rule here where I don't kiss ass.
Uh-huh.
I tell these guys, don't fucking kiss ass. Just don't overdo it. I'm gonna slightly break my own rule. I'm gonna bust a Chris, and I'm gonna slightly, you know, and it's not that I loved you on stage, but the way you presented yourself, the way you presented your message, it fucking like really like it struck me, dude. And, you know, it's one of those things that I don't listen to the lyrics, but the way you presented up there, your soul came out.
Right.
And it wasn't bullshit. It wasn't a lie. You weren't doing it for fame. You were out there. You said your story, and that's it. Take it the way you will. I fucking love that, dude.
Wow.
This is a profound moment because he never gives a compliment to anyone.
Never.
And I felt that.
Yeah,
I felt that, and I'm really honored with that because, you know, when you tell me that just tells me that we come from the same tribe.
Yeah.
We come from the same tribe,
Mhm.
and I'm articulating that lost feeling.
Yeah.
You know, that sense of wanting to connect to something that understands your story. That's what I heard when you said that to me. I understand your story because you're me.
Yeah.
And you're my little brother, and I'm your bigger brother,
Exactly.
or whatever. We're together here. If we were in the desert and we were lost, I'd be like, hey, come over here. You know, I found him walking around over there. Get
Yeah.
over here. You know, this is the path. I know a path. Look, I followed this star.
Yep.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
And-
no,
and
you nailed it on the head right there, dude. It's perfect. I mean, out of that whole show, nothing against anybody else, but you're like the one that stuck out the most. And I'm like, dude, we gotta get this guy on the podcast. We gotta get him on here, man. I've been saying that from day one. Like, we
Yeah,
gotta
you
get him on
did.
the podcast.
And I've been
did, man.
sitting at home going, no, nobody wants to interview me.
No, it's just interesting. Your delivery was like just dead on, man. It was
yeah, it's like so you saw the show, so you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking. When you see it, it like
Yeah.
hits your soul. Like
the only other time that ever got, I don't want to say mesmerized, but I kind of like fell in was this band Bloodlet. Like that guy was singing his soul to you, and I totally dug it, you know. And then the only difference is I understood your message.
Right.
I didn't understand his.
And-
But I dug the vibe of it. Yours, I'm like, all right, hell yeah, dude, I'm singing in.
Right.
I'm gonna go find this guy and listen to him now.
Wow.
And it was awesome,
And
man.
that's super hard to do to get somebody like there's this guy that I know, and he's like, hey, I didn't know you rapped. And I was like, yeah, I put some records out, and you can come find me on these platforms, whatever. It's like, no, dude, you rap like. I know, but and I told him like, I just don't like shoving my music down.
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah, you know, yeah.
It just to me it wasn't something that I or even after I wrote it, or like it's the proverbial I don't want the attention. My name is Zero for a reason. You know, I chose that name to be humble and to let the experience evolve in real time, which is what it means to live in the dream state.
Yeah.
You know. So then there's no room for ego in that, and there's no room to hold something like his
Yeah.
comments forever. You know, it's like it's like, hey, remember that time you told me you like my no. There's no need for it because, you know, I understood what you were saying. You're saying that, you know, you put me on a path that I was familiar with.
Yeah.
I didn't know why, but now I do
Yeah.
because I heard your poem. And that's what it was, I think.
Yeah, it was like perfect. Like our path crossed for a reason.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
And those pictures were amazing, brother. Thank you so much.
They came out, dude. I was like, dude, I got to do this guy. I got more pictures. By the way, that I didn't send you. I have a lot more. Yeah.
Oh wow, thank you.
But like the ones I sent were like, oh, this is coming through. This like, the comment I got the most out of your pictures was, dude, I could feel his music without hearing it.
Wow.
And I never had that before.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Like when I first seen you perform, it's just like everything like I wanted to say or inspired to say or everything I learned. You know, I went, Lewis and I, we went to El Camino College down the way in, you know, Torrance, you know, and I took a Chicano Studies class, and man, I was blessed to have a teacher. Her name was Dr. Miranda. She taught a Chicano Studies class at UCLA, and she was bad. She was fucking bad. She was like old school Chicana.
Right.
Her mom was a zoo tutor.
Wow.
You know, she came from, you know, and man, so I went to that class. I loved it. You know, spoke on some of the knowledge that you were speaking on, that it was us, defined us, and it's great. And then, you know, like the music you were speaking on earlier, where it had the anger and stuff like that. And I think that when you're younger, you're supposed to feel like that. That if we were in those times, we would be the warriors protecting. You know, yeah, it would be us. And now that we're a little bit older, more mature, and we understand the position where we're at now, because we made it to this point, you know, then I saw your show and I was just like, oh my God. And you know, when I wore that shirt, it was more than just, you know, I saw a dope group. It was more like, okay, you know, it's a feeling, you know, and when you put on that shirt, that's what you're representing, because that's what people see. And it was a big, you know, like the Cuauhtémoc in the back.
Right.
And it was just like, it's an energy, you know, and now that we're sitting down conversating, you know, talking about it, it's like, when you represent that and you know the feeling and the path, it's really good to express it in your music, you know. And now that we're here, it's like it's the path that we're supposed to come down, and we all met at this point.
It's like a full circle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to represent people from here, right? Because you know, when I went to Mexico City, and the group had just didn't want to do it anymore. You know, and they gave me an offer to play the Zócalo in Mexico City. I was like,
oh shit.
Fuck.
Wow.
That's the Zócalo? Like, right in front of the Templo Mayor. Like,
Wow.
like 10,000 people there. Like,
To me, no honor.
That's crazy.
I was tripping, so I said, yeah, I'll fucking go. And so I took a plane, I went to Mexico City. And before they, you know, how they announced me was I was the Chicano 0 from Califaslan. So like if we're like this wild tribe from LA, identifies with the mother tribe of Mexico City, and I was just like,
Holy shit.
whoa, that's a pretty big responsibility,
Right.
And you know,
You had
and
to
I took it on,
represent.
and I was like in honor, and there's more of us. You know, there's a lot more of us.
There's the whole tribe of us.
There's a whole city of us.
You had to represent that night.
Yeah, and
That's
it was
represented.
cool, and to hear the lyrics that I, you know, so I'm late and they're throwing shit on stage, and I had to walk through the crowd because there was no more like car can't go to the stage anymore. So I'm fucking carrying my wheeling my fucking bag of merch or posters that I was gonna give out to the crowd. As soon as I get there, the dude's all, 0, yeah, okay, go. I'm like, the DJ. I was like, I had a CD, so I get on stage and I give the guy the CD. He's like, what are you giving me this for? What the fuck is this?
What?
And I was all, there's no DJ? And he's all, no. And the fucking guy that was doing the visuals grabs the CD, goes to the DVD player, and fucking presses play.
Oh wow.
And so I went, wait. I'm not ready for music yet. So it's all fucking happening, right? Then I hit him with Spanish. You know? I hit him with the Spanish Nahuatl stuff, right? So I was like, Tlazocamatli, Tetzcatlipoca, en la noche, yo salgo de tu boca, right? I finished the thing.
You won them, dude.
Bad.
That's how you win them, man.
That's bad.
Fucking whoa. And after the show, I was just like, the guy that invited me was Rocco from Maldita. He's a ska band in Mexico City, pretty famous.
Maldita
Yes.
vecindad.
Vecindad, vecindad?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, so Rocco, he's all,
Nice.
fuck, did you know what just happened? I was like, what? He's all, your lyrics were bouncing off of all these buildings.
Damn.
Fuck.
He's all, I know the grandfathers heard those.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that.
Spoke to the elders.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was honored to play that show. It was a cool show.
Yeah, that's incredible, dude.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
You
and
know,
representing you guys, this
Right?
is,
Oh, yeah.
this is who I represent. I represent Los Angeles. I
You're
represent East Los Angeles. So I
you're
was
our
born and
voice.
raised. Yeah.
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, especially down there to have a different vision of us over here.
Yeah, they feel like, when I was being interviewed by a pretty big publication out there, they're like, why are you into this? And I was like, why aren't you?
Why
It's
not?
like, fuck,
Why
dude, this
not?
shit's profound. This shit,
Right.
it saved my life. You know, it put my kids on a road that's beyond a predestined road of oh, you didn't go to college or whatever. I went, no, that's not what we're gonna connect you with. We're gonna connect you with, see that star right there, Venus. Okay, well, you were born on that day, so that name is going to be coinciding with that star. So when you get lost in your life, look up to the star because it'll tell you where to go.
Yeah. You know, around the same time, there's another music group that I was discovering. I forgot the name. Maybe you guys can tell me. But they had a song called "We Didn't Cross the Border."
Oh,
the border
Austin
crossed.
Underground.
Yeah,
Austin Underground was before us.
I saw them at Fay Dodo, and it was when you mentioned that you're a fan of Psycho Realm.
Yeah.
Like that's when
Yeah.
Psycho Realm was like coming out, and
Yeah.
they introduced Psycho Realm, and I saw them, and it was him and another guy. He had a traditional like face paint and a helmet, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
did that song.
Yeah.
It's like when I saw your group, it just like hits you because that's the voice that you want. That's you that you identify with because it's that. I don't know. I don't want to say native, but it's like you feel it in your blood. Like you can feel it. It's like, oh my God, this is me.
Yeah.
And that guy looks like me. He thinks like me, eats the same food as me, but he's telling my thoughts.
It's crazy because that's funny you said that because I went to Seattle once, and we performed up there for Mecha, which is a college group. I'm sure you guys are familiar with, and there was about 300 Chicanos there, right, or Mexicans or whatever, and El Vu played for them. And by the end, they were all sitting in like theater seats when the show started, and then you saw 3 of them stand up, and then the other side 4 stand up, and by the end of the show, all of them were standing up.
Yeah.
Super fucking dope.
Yeah.
And I was watching it with my sweat leader, and he's all, that's crazy. He's all, see, all you gotta do is tell them to be themselves.
Yeah.
And look how happy they are. And so that sounds like what you're describing. When you go and you sit there and you go, oh, cool, I could be.
Yeah.
You feel like you can breathe.
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm with my tribe. Like when homie's lost in the desert, right? He related to my music. He felt like, damn, I found the brother. I found my big bro.
Yeah.
He knows what's up. He knows where he's gonna. He knows which way we're
Yeah.
going. Versus
Exactly.
trying to feel you around the desert, not knowing, understanding, or doing anything. You're just like, that's the power of the abuelos. They wrote these songs. These native songs, and those native songs, they penetrate your being, and then you write modern songs that are gonna do the same.
Yeah.
Because we were, the Mexicas have a word, and it's called tiawi, right? Tiawi, and it's related to the Big Bang, right? Boom, and it moves forward, So tiawi has always been something that we as Mexica people always related to because the universe is expanding forward. So we're always moving forward, and it evolves, and you learn and you pass these things on forward, right? So when the abuelo said, oh, it's going to be a dark period, but we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
That our great-grandchildren will know and understand and come to the reality.
Because they didn't say we're going to stop.
Right.
They just say we're
Forward.
it's a challenge.
I want to know what kind of kid were you growing up, man?
Oh, man, I was lonely.
Where you
sad
grew up?
boy.
What part of
I
LA
grew up
did
in
you
East Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
I grew up on Brooklyn and Mott.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
That's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Backland.
Yeah, Brooklyn and Mott. I went to the boys club there.
That's cool.
It's cool that you bring that up because when you said that, I remember going at about 13 years old. I went to San Luis Potosí, and that was like my grandfather's original land. And when I went there, I was a pretty Bahgo kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't have older brothers or younger brothers. I just had my youngest sister, my older sister. And my older sister was way older than me, and my younger sister was too young to be. I had to worry about her too much. So I took off in the night.
Yeah.
I'm fucking running down the road because it had light. And then all of a sudden, it didn't. And I fucking look up. And I got terrified. I went like this. Like, I cringed because I felt like I saw so many stars. They were like, I felt like I could grab them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so dark in that desert. I think I saw like the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But like with low light, it almost felt
Yeah.
disorienting. Like,
Something kept you there.
yeah, I was just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, and it was like a path. And I was just so young, I didn't understand it then. I kind of understand it now,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That was a profound moment too.
Right.
I feel you on
trip.
that.
Damn, to see the Milky Way like that. Yeah, because a lot of people say they see it.
Yeah,
If you actually look in the clear sky, you can
Yeah.
actually see a lot
Yeah,
of
you
the
definitely
stars.
can.
yeah. But
Now-
in like San Luis Potosí, where there's like the nearest city is like 50, 60 miles. There's no city light to
So you
like
can
that.
actually
So it's
see
like
it.
so pitch black
Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
that I looked up and the only
The s-
thing bright was
The
stars. But
stars.
I literally felt like I could grab them. Like it was such a crazy
Yeah.
experience.
See, I had not the same experience, but when I was in the military, I had night vision goggles. And my favorite thing with those things is to look up in the sky, dude. Because you see everything. You see shit moving around up there.
Wow.
So if you guys ever get night vision goggles for a reason, look up at the sky, dude.
Wow.
Do it in the desert. Don't do it out here. You don't see shit.
Right, because of
Put
the
them-
light. Right.
Yep.
Go to the Mojave.
You know,
Oh,
like,
dude.
like
6 hours one time just looking straight up. Dude. I couldn't sleep. I'm just like, wow, dude, this is fucking
What,
amazing.
what were you on?
Fucking MREs, military food. So a little chorro.
you know, I know what you're talking about. You know, I was the only kid, you know, just trying to find out who I was on my path of being a man. And you know, I just didn't know what to do. You know, I was born over here, but I have a natural hunger to know my Indian roots, my native roots. And like you guys were talking about, look up into the stars, because I'm from Texas. And over there, you can see the stars. I mean, it's because there's no smog. So it's just like, oh man, you talk to them and they can listen.
Right.
And it's kind of like you're positioned under those particular stars for a reason.
Right.
It's like they're guiding you.
Right.
And to find out who I am, not only as, you know, my own being, but to understand my roots and to accept it, it's a different feeling. And like what you guys are talking about, when just like what you mentioned, you know, when in doubt, just look up at the stars. Those are your elders. They
See.
put you there.
You know how small I felt though, looking up at the sky and like, fuck, this is big, dude. The closest star is lifetimes away, dude.
It's like
Yeah,
we're looking up at them, they're looking down at us.
yeah,
You know, we've met before.
Yep.
Like what you mentioned with your dream state, I have a theory. It's like, I don't know if you, maybe it's the same thing, different words. When you're awake right now, you have an alternate, another you that's asleep, and they're seeing your reality, right? What we're experiencing right now. And then when we go to sleep, the dreams we see is what they see in their reality.
Interesting.
And vice versa. So like right now, my other Hectick, he's asleep and he's dreaming that he's doing this.
So like an outer, you're being out of your body.
Yeah.
Like an outer being.
My dream. And then when I go to sleep, the things that I see is what he's doing when he's awake.
It's kind of like, yeah.
It's the same dream type of thing.
I attested it to like, you know, when you understand the principles of our ancient culture, it was science and
yeah,
faith.
yep.
Right, a religion, unexplainable, because it's exactly what he said earlier. It was like, when I looked up at the stars, I was this tiny being. So now imagine our abuelos, they look up and they see themselves and they feel that profound moment of being this tiny being. Then how can they ever conceptualize everything?
Yeah.
You know, or anything specific in that regard, you know? So then I goes into science though, right? So how now that's a very general philosophical way of looking at things, but in the science principle, light travels fast.
Yep.
Right? It travels from the sun here, and it's traveling so fast that we, in our primitive mind, think we can conceptualize that, but we can't.
Okay.
We're hitting the remnants,
Yeah.
what we can think or understand to be real without going too powerful over it, you know, so overwhelming, right? So all dimensions do exist at the same time, is what the Toltecs say. It's just who's aware of what dream state they're going into.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
The subconscious, man, kicking in.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big believer in the subconscious, man. Sometimes I believe that, I mean, maybe when I'm dreaming, that's the real me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Whatever.
Yeah, that's
right,
exactly what I was saying.
yeah, it's like right now when I'm awake, whatever. It's like whatever. But when I go into my deep sleep, that's when I feel everything in the world.
Right.
And
That's
I'm
when
not-
I feel
and
I'm real.
Yeah, and when me and being as an artist, it's like it's naturally with me.
Right.
You know, I wake up thinking, shit, did I just dream that? I'm gonna paint it.
Right.
You know, because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that if I was
It's
awake.
so quick. It's so quick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that moment that happened to me in Mexico. Excuse me. It's so fast. Like
Yeah.
right. Like it started counting down right when the guy said go on stage.
Yeah.
It's like so. It was like maybe 15 minutes of my life. You know, but that's what you're talking about. Right? Like, am I dreaming this? Is this real?
Yeah.
Is this really?
Yeah.
Is this, you know? But then you go back to the principles that I explained: understanding light, not wanting to dominate light. I am a part of light, not light. You know what I mean? Tumex had the greatest line. It's like, remember that God is in you, but remember that God is not you. That's the dopest line.
It is.
It's like,
Peace and blessings to Tumex. Hope
Yes.
he gets up
Yes.
for a speedy
you know,
recovery.
and I'm glad
Yes.
you invited me to this podcast, because I do really love that brother, and I want him to know that my prayers are with him, and that we really love him and respect him, and
Yeah,
that,
we do.
you know,
Yes.
he's gonna pull through.
Yeah, we all love
Yes.
Tumex. And you know what? He also has a GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
If you love Tumex, how we love Tumex, look for it and donate whatever you can.
Yeah, he's like my hip hop mentor, man. That guy really kind of just showed me how to be an independent artist. And
Tumex is LA.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
He
Yeah.
represents
Yeah.
yeah.
straight.
And you know what? When you think about Tumex, you think about hip hop, and it brings a smile to your face. He's
Yeah.
a beautiful being.
Big time.
We'll never see another Tumex.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him. Like, he's like one of those artists where you're like, he's gone. You know,
Nah,
it's like,
he's still here.
no, but what I mean is, like, you know, that we didn't appreciate him as much as we needed to when he was.
Yeah.
He's still gonna be here.
Yeah.
He's still gonna pull through. I'm not saying that he's gone. I'm just saying, like, he
If.
should be way more elevated, and due to the fact that the industry is the way it is, and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
feel like he's marketable, or for whatever reason it is that they thought Tumex was not going to sell records, they were completely wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
You know-
he's going to be that guy where you're like, man, this guy, man.
You know,
He's so humble, man.
I was gonna
That's what I
like.
love about him. He's so humble.
I was gonna go along the lines what you were just speaking on, but you know what? Let's pause that. But that was a great topic that you brought up.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Tumex right now.
sure.
Yeah, you know what, man? When I first heard about Tumex, well, I used to DJ at Project Load from '97 to 2000.
Oh, nice.
When I first heard about Tumex, we're having a special guest, Mike Nardone, one of the original KDA mix masters. You know, Mike Nardone.
Yeah.
But not to talk about that, but he played a clip of Tumex serving Fat Joe at Project Load.
Wow.
Yes.
No
and
way.
he ripped him.
Yeah, because Fat Joe didn't get love over here.
Yeah, no.
When he first came to the Good Life, he didn't get that much
Well,
love.
you know, 'cause
But
he
it
was
took a
big
little-
time.
It took a little longer.
He's
for
big
him to-
time,
yeah.
you know what I mean? But you know what? Like Fat Joe is a graffiti artist.
Oh, yeah.
Tats Crew, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. But you know what? Tumex hit him.
Yeah, with his catch, what's his name? Crack one.
Joey Crack.
Yeah, Joey Crack.
Yeah.
I mean-
but you know what? Tumex got him.
Oh, he got
man.
him.
Yeah, Tumex
Yeah.
is like from back in the day.
Man.
Oh yeah, I remember him from the Good Life.
Where it
man.
wasn't even
From-
cool to be like a hip hop artist. When you said you were a hip hop artist, let me see your bars, and then they laugh
Man,
at
I
you.
think I seen him at the hip hop shop back then
Yeah.
too. Man,
Oh,
the
man.
Heck shop.
My favorite stories from Tumex is that, you know, every time he would see us play, he would go, give me a shirt. And I'm like, Tumex, it's an extra large. dude, like, I don't want to give you this shirt. He's like, give it to me. Puts it on.
He's an energy, man.
Yeah.
Tumex is the ultimate b-boy.
Yeah, Tumex will always, like, I always have love for him because he will rock your shirt even if it's too small for him. On stage.
Yup.
On stage. And that's how cool he is, because that's how, I mean, he would tell us, like, your lyrics are dope, this and that, and this and that. But sometimes you're born in a time where it's just maybe a lot of people explain my music sometimes as being over their head. You know, it's too deep. You know, it's too, but I don't care. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I'm not going to not write whatever the communication is that I took so long to get.
Yeah.
Because it's going to sound, then I really got to question, like, where am I trying to fit myself in? Am I trying to fit myself in a place where it's not even going to be relevant?
Yeah.
Or can I staple myself in this place, or cement myself in this place of art where someone will be digging in it and find a record and listen to it and go, what the fuck? Who was this? You know,
Right.
that's enough for me. You know, as long as I connect with brothers like yourself that said, man, I don't know what it was, but I listened to it and I went and started hearing more. And so that's all I'm doing it for, really. I mean, I'm a pretty smart businessman. I have other businesses that I work on, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I would love to tour and do the things that I need to do, because I think my kids would love to see that.
Yeah.
You know, they would love to see the interviews and experience the experience that we all dream of when we start this thing. But it's not my goal. That's not one.
Do you want your kids to follow in your footsteps?
Yes.
Definitely.
Totally. I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
whatever they want. You know, my oldest son, he wrote a whole rap album when he was 13.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. And I didn't want to be the guy in the studio telling him, "Oh, wait, do it like this." Oh, so I just kind of, here's Pro Tools. This is how you started. This is how you use the mic. I was there. But
You didn't want to be the stage dad.
I did not want to do that. I wanted him to, like, learn, like,
Be his own man.
what I tell my son is I go, Olin, don't look for me for an answer. Look for me for a general explanation so you can make your decision. And that meant in music too.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be that, you know? So but after I heard it and I was like, fuck, man, I was 17 when I started. You're fucking 13. You're on this whole project.
Yeah. You let him do it on his own. That's like the best way to
pretty
teach
cool,
people.
man.
You
That's the
have
best
to,
way to
man.
teach.
Yeah.
You don't want to sit there and like dictate everything. You want to say, hey, open your mind. This is the way you fucking do it.
Yeah,
It's not
and be frustrated with, oh, how do I get this to record? And it's like, that's a part of it. Nobody was there. You know, I didn't have no kick-ass engineer telling me. You know, for Jaguar Prophecies and Evolution, I pretty much mixed and produced those records. So I had to do it all. That was during the time where Pro Tools, everybody was getting it, and you just had to just read the books and figure it out
And
and
what were
ask
you
people.
Yeah.
And what equipment were you using? You said the MPC or what was it back then?
For Jaguar Prophecies, I used a Korg Triton.
Oh shit!
And for Evolution, I used a MPC 1000, and I used the Korg Triton and Pro Tools.
Damn.
Yeah. So I
Those
used
are nice,
a very, and you know, I'm doing all this stuff, and I go, well, someone's gonna find out that I'm not a really good producer. Now I think about it, it's like so silly. You know, you're so
Right.
hard on yourself when
You are your worst critic.
Yeah,
You are always going to be your worst critic,
Yeah.
regardless of what the people.
Totally.
You know?
Do you have any sons with your songs with your son?
No, I have. You know, the only closest thing I have to that is my daughter on the Calpuli record sang a Nahuatl song in the background.
Oh,
And
nice.
she was 3 when she did that.
Oh,
So
wow.
she's 22, so
That's
Oh,
cool.
that's
yeah, we
dope.
cemented her there. But my all my kids, it's cool. I like to show them my whole thing, because they weren't very nice sometimes, because I'd have a show when the group split. It wasn't like instant fame or shit. It was like, you know, I had to go play shows wherever, and I did. And one time I did a show when nobody was there, and my kids saw that, and I kind of felt like, oh fuck, what am I teaching these guys? And but then they would see me do like a Conejo show.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, Dad, you should have did this song, and you should have did that. So it's not like they said that, you know, I was like this they didn't have faith in what eventually I was going to get to this place, right? So I think in their hearts, I'm planting a seed that there is room and freedom if you make good life decisions to do whatever you want, whether it be a painter, whether it be a musician, whatever it is that you decide to do. My son, he decided to write an album at 13, and he still writes lyrics, and but he knows that the industry is not easy to get into. World. It's not. He sees my story like, fuck, what if I do it and I'm like my dad and I'm not famous and rich, and that's what they think the end result of doing this music is, and that's not. My end result is like, like I said, gathering the tribe, and I know it's going to result in a lot of success, but I have to be patient with that.
Yeah, definitely.
That show that you did when you said there wasn't a lot of attendance, but you had your family there, did you still go hard?
Yes.
Yeah.
I showed them that I play. It doesn't matter. I figured like,
you did the show for them.
Yeah, like them or anybody who was walking by and oh shit. And next thing you know, I did the thing and it was like 10 people around me and stuff. So
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like it was just that transition period from being very successful, being a part of because with El Vu we played with RZA, Ghostface, Keras One. We played with a lot of really big acts, and so there was a lot of fan base that we had. And when the group broke up. Or not broke up, but just decided not to make music anymore, I still continue wanted to. So I wrote my mixtape, which is what I performed at Conejo show. And so I wrote that mixtape in 2012. Oh. So think about that. Like, I mean, this is material that I just never really had a huge platform to present my music in. But I mean, I think that the writings that I have now, and whatever platform I have now, it doesn't matter. I have a lot to say about who we are and where we're headed, as in general, as and for my children, so they can go, well, I can listen to my dad's recordings and have some sort of sense of direction.
Oh yeah, dude.
Now that we're leading up to your new project, why don't we stop now and pay homage to the gods and have a smoke break?
Yes.
And when we come back, we'd love to talk about your new project.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
perfect. Yeah, like I don't like that preachingness on him, dude. That's it. I mean, other than that, like for example, over here, I want you didn't fucking tell me how I should think. You said go figure out yourself.
Wait. Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not part of the podcast. We'll start.
Let's start.
It is, me. I gotta give some leeway.
Yeah.
But you weren't preachy.
Right.
You weren't preachy at all, and that's what I loved about it.
That's funny because I mean, back when I was playing El Vu, I asked one of our good friends who was really like, I felt like he was a fan, and then I was like, so what do you think? Like, what do you think? What do you think? And I was all confident, and he's all, yeah, you guys are a little preachy.
Oh.
But I'm glad that you don't see it that way.
I didn't see it at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
At all.
Nah, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see. It's like,
it's funny because I was talking about an interview that I did with Husky Radio. It was a hip hop radio show in LA.
I used to be on their show.
Oh, no way.
There's two of them. There was Husky Radio and the other, like, weird.
Right. I went to the one where there was a pit bull and like
yeah.
on the back of a house.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Yeah.
OG.
Yeah, they're brothers. Yeah, it's a long story.
Yeah, well, anyways, I liked that interview because I thought, again, I was going in confident. I mean, when it comes to my music, I'm pretty confident. I got to a point where it was that. And he hits me, he's like, so, first question. So, you trying to turn everybody Indian?
What the fuck?
Damn it.
God, dude,
Damn,
I guess.
No, you know what, dude? But I'm not. I'm being me.
Yeah.
And if people relate with that story, right? The truth, because enough of hiding what it is. It's kind of like where you go. Oh, you were talking about a racist person, Lou Reed. Right? He's saying, "Oh, fucking guy is fucking racist."
I can't say he's the song sounded fucked up.
Right, it sounded racist.
Yeah,
right?
it did.
It's this undertone of race, right? Where it's not we don't come from North Carolina, we come from California.
Yeah,
and in California is a different ballgame because there's a bunch of fucking natives here. We just don't call ourselves natives. It's been beaten out of us.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
it was
like
a torture if you were to think you were, or even. I understand why my grandmother and my grandfather didn't talk about it, because they were terrified. of the consequences, right? I mean, from being accused of being a witch to whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, I want to tell that story. How come no one has ever told that story? You know, why? Because if they did, then we would understand that there's no reason why we should be afraid on our own land.
Maybe it's just because like my dad changed his last name to find work.
Right.
You know, because back in the day, like it was better to be black than it was to be Indian. So he had to change his last name to his stepfather's last name. That's now my last name.
Yeah.
And my family consistently, you know, refers to them as Mexican when they're not. You know, and that really like, I didn't really think nothing of it when I was a kid, but now it just like it fucks with me.
Okay, so now we know how you feel, but can we go around the room and see what everybody, you know, kind of feels about that?
That's cool. That's a good. I wasn't gonna speak on that after you. That's a great.
Can I ask why though? Why do you feel that discomfort or like why does it fuck with you?
Well, it's just because, you know, you know, when people talk about the white man or the Europeans, I mean, you fucking miss me with that shit. And I think
But what if it's fact?
it could be fact. I'm not denying it. I'm not denying it. That's just not how I feel.
Right.
You know, because, you know, now that I'm a man, I'm a master of my own destiny.
Sure.
And I don't need to identify with my race, my gender, because that's not who I am. I was born into it. And I make my own lane.
Sure.
And yes, I'm very spiritual as far as like, you know, just being with who I am, one with my friends and one with nature. But as far as like, hey, my name's Chris, I'm Indian. No, I don't do that. Not that because I'm ashamed of it. You know, it's just that I'm more than that. I think.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an asshole that smokes way too much. That has too many fucking opinions.
Right.
And that's just the way I feel, that we could, you know, once you categorize yourself, you divide it. You're dividing yourself, and you lose that contact with other people because, oh, this is my Mexican friend Julio, or I know this white chick up in the valley. You know, this is like, they're more than that. You know, you're more than that, and I respect everybody's opinion, and I just feel that, you know, you know, not without losing your own culture, but, you know, we shouldn't just put ourselves in that box and categorize ourselves like that.
Joe, how do you see it? His question.
On the spot.
On the spot.
Well, I'm just my own person. I don't judge, and I don't want to be judged myself. So you're my fellow friend, and that's how I see it. I would treat you how you treat me. You respect me, and I will respect you.
As far as your culture, though.
It's all around my culture. I know who I am. I don't go and put it out there, but I know who I am. And as long as I know who I am, that's all I need. I don't need anyone to tell me, oh, you're this, you're that. No, I'm my own person. I choose what I want in my life and how I'm going to live it. And that's what I go by.
Interesting. I guess I'm in line here. So the way I see it,
Pass the mic.
I kind of see it as, you know, a generation thing. I'm from Texas, San Antonio, the last state or, you know, republic to lose Mexico to the U.S. And it was a valiant fight. My last name is also Villa. So it comes down the line, I think, because my mom was born here. My grandma was born here. But it was still Mexico. They lost, you know. Lost. So like what you were mentioning, my mom, my grandma, on their birth certificate, it says they're white. And I saw my mom's birth certificate, and I was like, hey, Mom, why does it say you're white? And I saw my birth certificate, it said white. And it said because in the 30s and 40s, they didn't allow it. There was no Hispanic. There was no... So they said you're either white...
That's absolutely right.
...or you're black.
Your grandpa, his birth certificate says Caucasian on it, you know?
And I said, hey, Mom, we're not white. Why does it say that? I said, because they didn't count us back then. So either you were black or you were white. And I was like, wow. So coming up, a single kid, like no brothers, no sisters, like being brought up in a white world, I hate to say that, and then trying to discover your native roots because I felt I was different from the other white kids. They said I was like, you're not white. And the other kids, you're brown. Where are you from? So I had to discover that on my own.
Yeah.
And I discovered who I am, a whole culture, and I discovered it through hip hop because it gave me my voice. And when they're like, hey, well, I'm not black, but I understand what they're talking about. And then when I discovered Aslan Underground, Tumex, OMD of Mexican descent, I was like, oh yeah, because I'm not Mexican. I'm damn sure I'm not really American because the white people don't see me like that. So when I said OMD, I was like, yeah, of Mexican descent. I started taking my Chicano Studies class and discovering who I am, through groups like yours, through groups of Rage Against the Machine and Tumex. And I was like, wow, this is who I am. About you, Rick?
I never really put too much thought into it, honestly. I didn't discover... Well, I mean, I get a lot of the... you're Mexican? Like, I know you're Mexican. Like, what the fuck do you think I am? I have the accent. I have everything, But I really didn't think about it until I was in the Army when you kind of mix up with different races from everywhere. And you're like, holy shit, you're almost like it. I got along with Puerto Ricans like crazy. But we had the same kind of customs and they party like crazy. And I never fucking put thought into it until I started thinking about my grandma, like she, everything's about plants for them. My mom, same thing. They love plants. And I started wondering, like, why is that, Then I found out, my dad's side of the family, like more Spaniard than my mom's side. My mom's side is mostly the native Mexican, native Indians over there. And I just started like doing my own little research, trying to figure out, all right, where my last name came from. Then you discover, there's a town in Spain named Curiel, which is my last name. And then there's a Hebrew name for Curiel as well. So it's just, there's so many things, but I can't find anything, solid, anything in writing saying, hey, this is where we came from. The closest I came to was Puerto Vallarta. The last name Curiel is prominent there. What else is prominent there? Spaniards. And then another thing used to bother me was one of my uncles from my dad's side this is stories from my parents, so I don't know everything, but they used to look down at my dad for dating an Indian.
What kind of Indian?
Just Mexican. I don't know. I don't know like the lineage on it. My grandma, like the closest person I ever talked to about it was my grandma. And mostly growing up, I haven't told anybody. The reason I got my tattoo of the Addams family because I used to describe the Addams family, what they're talking about on a TV show to my grandma, and she didn't know English, so I was trying to, describe it to her, show her, get her to humor, and she'll laugh about it. And I think that's where I got my humor from growing up. But she told me like, yeah, we're plant based, we're we're people from the sun, we're people from this, but she wouldn't go into detail on it because my parents, when I was growing up, we didn't learn Spanish. I mean, we learned Spanish right off the bat, but as soon as we were in school, you're only going to focus on English. And I never got to master any of them, dude. I'm fucking horrible at Spanish and English. But the curiosity's always been there to figure out these things, but there's nothing in writing that I can find on my dad's side, at least. My mom's side is almost impossible. There's so much inbreeding, if you will, in that side of the family that I don't know where everybody's from. And I have family in Tepic. I have family in Jalisco, Guadalajara, down in Chiapas. It's just everywhere. And it's really hard for me to figure it out. And it came to a point where I just need to focus on me and we're not worried about that and just go straight ahead. But now that I'm older, I'm like, we're knocking at death's door. I mean, we're in our 40s. And I'm starting to look like I really want to figure this out, eventually. Yeah. And you came in, and I was like, I started looking into it again. So one of these days I'll figure it out, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Lewis, what do you think, man?
He's a straight tagger, dude.
Dude, this subject has came up in my head for so many freaking years, man. And it was like, I grew up on hip hop, no joke. And what is it that when you hear hip hop back in the 80s, it's like, it's a black culture. So I started listening to so much hip hop that my mom was like, "Este mi hijo, why are you listening to this music?" And I was like, "Mom, this is the shit I like." And she was questioning, like, what is wrong with my son? This fool's like, he listens to black music. But I was like, Mom, no, this is the shit I like. So little by little, years later, I started growing up more and more. And I'm like, fuck, dude. Cypress Hill came along. And I'm like, wait a minute. It's not just black. They're Hispanic. So I started looking at like, holy shit. This is another side of hip hop. So they turned my whole fucking world around. So I was like, oh shit. So I started questioning, what the fuck am I? I know I'm Mexican, but I never was into like brown pride. I used to see all these brown pride magazines and shit, and I'm like, nah, that can't be that.
It's fucking teenage old dick.
Yeah, like I didn't want to like represent the brown pride culture. Why? It's fucked up. I hate to say this, but it was like, nah, dude, I'm hip hop.
I think it's like what, well, I don't know. Well, like what I think when you're saying, like you're saying, stereotypically it's black music.
Yeah.
I think it's that calling from our native soul, from the sound of the drums.
Yeah,
The rhythm.
and dude,
The
that's what
drums.
got me. Like the music
It's the drums.
is
man.
like, holy shit, I got into the music.
It's the beat of your soul, man.
Yeah. So I got into the music. Then I'm like, wait a minute. It's not just hip hop. It's not just African music. It's the Aslan music, the Indian music. It's all interconnecting all of a sudden. I'm like,
it's the sound of that drum. Man.
I
It's
seriously used to
tribal.
be like the outcast in my family because everybody was into like, rancheras. I like rancheras, but I was more into the hip hop shit. So when I used to kick it with my family, it was like, I still pinche cholo, he's over there fucking listening to fucking hip hop and la música de negro. And I didn't give a shit. I was proud to do that shit. Like, yeah, I like this hip hop shit. I don't give a fuck what my family says.
It's the drum, man. It's the call
Yeah.
of the wild.
And it was like
it's
so
the-
fucking spiritual to me at that moment. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to this fucking music. I don't care what people say.
in a drum circle.
Yeah,
Put that drum on,
exactly,
man. It'll
dude. So
call out the
I would-
warrior.
I
in
would
you.
like any. That's why when you say like hip hop, to me hip hop. When I hear hip hop music, it's all about the drums. You can make any fucking music hip hop when you put drums to that shit.
Any culture will get along through the drums.
Exactly. So like all my friends were everything. They weren't just Mexican. They were everything.
Yeah.
So I started questioning my whole thing. Like, what the fuck am I? I'm not. Yeah, I was born in Mexico. I'm still not American citizen. I'm still, I still have fucking. I still got a green card.
Trump's
I'm not-
listening, dude.
Yeah, I still got a green.
They're gonna
card.
build a wall around the podcast.
So
You better
it's
stop.
so it was like
Good.
So to this day, I'm in my 40s now. I'm still like, fuck, dude. I'm just a human being. To that loves fucking music. Fuck whatever the fuck people say you are. I'm human.
I mean, I guess what what the purpose of the question was is to kind of like go around the room and kind of see, like, for some people it was like so absurd. They was like, don't even put focus on it. Another person was oblivious of it, but I knew who I was. Another person identified with it. Right. One was curious, and another oblivious. Isn't that sad that we come from people who have tracked stars for 26,000 years?
Nope.
We can go back to our abuelos that far. Now we can't even identify with our great grandfather.
Well, I could totally identify with my great grandfather.
Well,
I mean, just
I guess I'm just speaking from my perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what I mean? I'm not trying to judge or say anything. I'm just saying the impact. The impact. It's not a gentle impact. Yet we talk about it in any sense as if it isn't. But if the Holocaust happened 2 weeks ago, we would be revved up about it. But since our Holocaust never really ended,
yeah.
But
because we were swept under
'cause-
the rug because there was no place to put Mexican on our birth
Exactly.
certificate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's also
There was-
beautiful
yep.
that we can talk about
Yeah,
it.
we could.
Yeah, but I mean, make no mistake. I know I'm descendant of the knee.
There you go.
I know I'm
More than
descendant.
us.
I know I'm descendant of the knee.
Yeah. So
And then-
that's a beautiful thing to grab onto. I'm not saying wear a badge or any of that. I'm just saying, like, in the moment, the reason I write the poetry I write is because in the moments of my solitude, I can talk to whoever I want to talk to, whether it's true or not. I'm talking to whatever it is.
And I dig it, bro. I
You
dig
know
it.
what I mean?
I'm digging this conversation. Like,
Yeah, this is
I
great.
I kept myself out of it, not because I didn't have an opinion on it, but I wanted to listen.
Yeah.
Because
we all feel
you
like
had some
that, man.
knowledge. You had some knowledge to tell.
Yeah.
And then I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed it as a listener, not as a podcaster.
Exactly.
And just to clarify, I mean, like, I do know where I come from.
Yeah, I know. You're the
You
first
know?
one that told me, like, I'm this and that. I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, brother. Like a bigger brother, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's great, man? You know, about you coming to our show and joining us for tonight. That your essence, your being, just your you being here gets to spark that up. And I think that's a wonderful and beautiful thing, because before our last show, it was a different subject. Our last show was something else.
Yeah.
But tonight, with your presence, you know, it's metaphysical. It's an energy that we can tap into that is also us.
And I'm glad you said that, because it goes along with what we're talking about, right? It's the final exclamation point on decolonization. Here it is. The truth is, I can't prove that I'm from the Aztec culture, right? But I don't care, because they're liars. They lied. They just lie about everything. Everything they do is a lie. Everything. Everything.
Everything.
The richest person in the United States was Rockefeller, who sold snake oil and continues to sell snake oil in different forms. As long as you believe it, it'll cure you. As long as you believe, if you take this snake oil thing, it'll cure you.
Yeah.
But they lie. And that's all I'm pointing on that. So if they can lie, then I'm going to bake the biggest lie and say I am connected directly to the Aztec, Mayan, Toltec, Olmec people. Prove me wrong.
Where do you see culture now, as far as like social media, the distraction of fake news and all that? I know I didn't want to get political, but I mean, I think that we're doing it to ourselves.
Of course.
And there's no I mean,
Because of comfort, though. It's because of comfort.
It's just we're used to being safe. We want to be safe. We don't want to feel pain. We don't want to feel discomfort. We want to be distracted. We want to be medicated. We want to be sedated by mindless social media. Kobe Bryant died, whatever, and everybody was, it's an all uproar. But this week, you don't hear shit about it.
Right.
We're on to the next thing, and then I see the younger generation. I'm Generation X, and I see the two generations ahead of me, and I see them just trying to latch on to whatever cause, and I'm not saying they have nothing to complain about, but to out people for the most ridiculous reasons, and when there's a bigger enemy at play, and they're falling into their trap, because what it is, it's classic strategy. If you play chess, it's divide and conquer, and they're dividing us as a people.
Right.
And
from they're dividing. I wrote in a verse of mine. I said, "Connection with myself is where they robbed me. Connection with my own self is where they robbed me. Because I believe that if I have those shoes, I'll be better. I believe if I have that house, I'm gonna be cool. I believe that my career is legit because I have a fucking platinum plaque on the wall. Right? Connection with myself is where they rob me. Where it's evident that whatever I'm writing, you guys are interested enough to have me here and listen to me.
Yeah.
So then they have no power. I have ultimate power. Because it's what I'm writing that makes you guys want to sit me down and listen to my thought process. Do you understand that? That's where it's like we feel like this is impossible task when all they have is the illusion that you're believing their illusion. You understand? Like we believe it. Like my partner tells me, "Oh, I think they're gonna censor me if I do this on social media." I go, "Jenny, it's a corporation established by a person who owns it, and if he fucking says, yeah, I don't want that shit on there, he's gonna take it off."
Yeah.
Oh, that's not my rights.
You're in somebody else's living room. And
Exactly.
You're starting shit.
And you're trying to fucking turn the lights off and fucking turn the TV on and blast the radio. And then someone's not going to go, "Hey, I don't fucking like that. That's against my business policies. Like, I'm trying to make money off this fucking thing. I'm not trying to fucking further your cause." So don't get uproared about Instagram going offline because so-and-so said this and whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
It's a
fucking corporation that owns it. I mean, they fucking tell you right there, fucking the Facebook dude. Yeah, all right, fuck it. What information do you want? I have it all.
It's a mirage, though.
Right?
It's
you know what?
Oh, let's have this fucking long legislative fucking conversation about bullshit and make them think that we're doing shit and we're not really doing shit.
Yeah.
Like let's impeach the president. Yeah, let's fucking take 4 weeks and talk about it and fucking say, yeah, look at how close we got. Oh my God, look at how close it is. Oh, by the way, he's still gonna be your president.
Yeah.
For the next 4 years.
And they knew that going in. They knew that fucking going in, man.
It makes me laugh because
You know what it is? It's
the two presidents have been impeached, and those two presidents never left office.
Right.
yeah.
That tells you everything.
You know what it is?
Tells you everything. Is my point. They lie. So if they lie, then I am an entity created from the universe that landed on a powerful planet and can live in truth. And that defeats all lies.
That is true. And
It's-
the only thing we could do is wallow in our own truth and gather little allies to share our vision, to
And
share our
build the
passion.
But see, you guys,
But you know what you're sounding and
you just-
describing? You're describing our old culture.
Yes. Like
Aslan, you're describing
Yes.
Mexico. You're describing all these places that had little tribes that lived outside the big city, and then all of a sudden, they got ceremonial, and then boom, 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 and then boom, there's a civilization.
I'm like Clika. This is my tribe.
But see, at the
Right.
end,
It's-
it's about yourself. I'm sorry, man. My fucking voice because I painted earlier, man. Sorry, but I think it all comes down to like just being yourself, man.
Yeah.
When it
And
comes down
knowing
to
that
it,
you
like
do-
it's all
but
about
I
you,
guess
man.
the purpose of my question, and it went alongside what you're saying, right? And putting it all together, the big piece, right?
Yeah.
We can like if you met somebody who was a survivor of the Jewish Holocaust,
I know a couple.
okay, and you're sensitive to them, right? You're completely automatically right away sensitive to their struggle. But for us, our story is like, oh yeah, that happened a long time ago, right?
But I think that sensitivity and empathy is just
it's recognizing your road. Like, why don't I know where my abuelo comes from? Why don't I know that? Why don't I know that?
I think it's unfortunate that you don't. I really wish you did, because it puts. But you know what?
Because it gives you a sense of root,
But you know what? It puts you on
not
this path.
superiority, but
You
root.
you not knowing where you came from puts you on a path, and you are the man you are today. You are the artist you are today.
Sure.
Because of that, because of that mystery that can never be solved.
Right. But
you're
I
on that
planted-
journey.
But I planted my own self, though.
Yeah,
I
but-
planted my own self in my own reality, right? In my own reality, I planted my own self and declared myself that.
Yeah, like the group I mentioned before, Black Sabbath. They have a Master of Reality. You mastered that. Metallica, what are that? Master of Illusion.
That's your puppets.
All right. Well, the same principle. But if you think about it, do you think that people that look like us with, the sloped forehead, the prolonged nose, our skin tone, spoke this language 1,000 years ago? Agreeing on the same topic?
They didn't speak Spanish 1,000 years ago.
They were speaking but now look how we're talking, and we're all in the same group, talking the same mathematics, the same principle.
Your race is a very young race.
Our race is only 1,500 years old. Like, we're all mestizos, but the
'Cause
people
they're-
that look like us.
Because you're your ancestors were victims of
rape.
rape in the Spanish conquest.
Was it a victim or did we adapt?
And I get it. I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
I get what you're doing. I get
But
we're in 2020 and there is no raping of women.
No,
and
no,
there's
no. I'm not.
But was
was
it victimizing or we were adapting because we're still here? We're just
We're
speaking.
you're assimilating.
We're still speaking a common bit, but we.
I did this show once. I did this show once at a community healing event, right? And it had a very it wasn't as stern as you in terms of the message. Like you're very stern about it. Like, look, this is where I'm at.
No. I'm just engaging.
Right.
You know.
But I feel it. No, everywhere. No, dude, don't. I hope it doesn't come off as me being any.
No.
What I'm saying is that I did this show at this community healing, which is more hippie. Everybody should love everyone. Right? Like that's what your native grandfathers believe, that like we're all connected and we're all in love and we're all this and that. And I went, wow, I'm gonna really dominate here. Like they're gonna understand my perspective. You know, like I'm gonna talk to them, and boom, I do my material. And I get good response. I'm not saying I didn't get good response, but some were offended. Offended. Like, how dare you
come here
and ruin my good vibe?
What?
Like a Nazi looking at me going, how dare you fuck up my tranquil crystal?
Like, how dare you make me think?
How dare you tell me the truth of your story? That's what I'm hearing in my head. You know, and I'm not trying to. What I'm trying to tell my tribe is throw your fish hook into the ocean and see what you come up with on your own.
Exactly.
That's it.
You
That's
know
all.
what?
Now, when you do that, don't be surprised if you pull up an old shoe.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised if you pull up a piece of trash. Because you're fishing. Something abruptly took it from you, like they took the Nazis from, but worse than that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to harp on it, but once you see that reality, then you go, fuck, I've survived so much.
Yeah.
I can live through anything.
Can I jump in there for a quick second?
Am I wrong about not thinking
Definitely
that
not.
way?
No.
Like, I've survived
That's
rape,
it.
displacement,
Pillage.
land, fucking taken away from mother. No, it's
Assimilation.
so much that if I asked my grandmother if she was alive, I said, Grandma, what native tribe are we? She'd be like, Ay, Cristo Dios, que la, 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 and I'm the devil.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was. That's what I'm pointing out.
They
my
treated
friend.
you like pagans back in the day.
Worse.
Yeah.
Worse than that.
But you know what always made it's always
It just didn't happen on a TV or a documentary or, think about it. The newspapers, they're all yellow and written and printed and who knows even what the fucking word says, right? Because there weren't perfect presses, right? And that's the story that we have of our genocide.
And you know what?
But
Somebody's
no, my
opinion.
friend, no.
Somebody's
when I went
opinion.
into my fucking first sweat lodge, the elder, I'm in there, scared as fuck. He looks at me, looks at everyone. It's like, oh, you guys sweat before? You sweat. You sweat before, huh? I fucking looked at him terrified. I was like, no, I've never sweated. Boom, he closes the door then. Maybe in a past life. Boom, he closes the door. And boom, we start hitting the fucking... fucking tripping in there, dude. I'm ready to leave. This is... My whole grandma's pulling me out of there. You're a Christian. You're not Indian. And then wham. You don't remember this? You don't. This is home. This is real home. Struggling, sweating, feeling the heat, hearing the native songs. I found home.
I
Found it.
I think our history is on books that have never been printed. And it's up to us to talk about it. And not to take away from the topic you guys were speaking on.
No.
We can pause that. And man, you were talking about earlier when you were talking with your sound man, and he didn't really quite have the music ready. But sometimes when you kick a poem, when you kick your message, sometimes you don't need the drums. Sometimes the drums are in your head, or in the rhythmical pattern that you write your rhymes to.
Because the music's already in you.
Yeah. And when you recite those, we could hear it in your song. Yeah. If you want to, I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And I'm the person to ask, if you could, would you please
share some of my stuff? Yes.
If you would.
1 second. Let me just text this. Okay.
And you can feel the energy right now,
right.
guys. Did you feel that shit?
All right. Of course, you know.
Hey, everybody turn our phones off on our staff.
We're professionals. We have our phones off already.
Right.
All of a sudden.
No, it's still on.
All right. Don't break the energy, man.
Go for it, man.
First, I'm honored that you guys want to hear my music.
Hell yeah.
And
it's the first topic on my mind.
And, you know, I write this in a humble way. I don't take credit for it. I just know that somehow, some way it chose me to express it, you know, and I express it in a certain way. So I'm honored. I'm nervous. You know, everybody's like, well, you fucking play in front of so many people and this and that. And I go, but when it's intimate like this, it's like all eyes are on you and you don't want to mess it up.
Could I please introduce you?
Sure, of course.
How do you like to be introduced? As Zero or Elvu?
Zero. Zero is good. Zero, Elvu is good. And I think one is coming to me, so I'll just spit the one that's coming to me.
You know what? This is Clika Podcast. Zero, Elvu.
Right on.
Please, bless us.
I dream in real time. Effortless motions of heart and mind. My spirit sublime even through all their crime. I'm rooted to time. No longer have to search for what I can't find. This love has always been there, like the transparent air. The wind can't be seen, but it doesn't mean it's not there. It surrounds everything, every plant, every animal, every human being. I could see beyond the smoke, of which my ancestors spoke. This world is a joke. It just ain't funny anymore. They're trying to send us off to never-ending war, without rhyme or reason. But you can't have my children. They were given to me by the sacred tree, implanted in me. I'll teach them to see beyond the lies and the greed. I didn't water your seeds. I planted my own. I showed them their home made of ancient stone, so they don't have to roam like a dog with no home. Because deep in their heart is a powerful flame that controls the brain, that melts the chain, that dries the rain, brought here by Spain such a long time ago. I'll pull back my bow just to let you know you can't have my soul. It comes from the sun. It comes from the earth. The contractions have started. She's starting to give birth to a new reality where everyone can see what's going on in this world. This was never a new world. Plato wrote of this land. Don't be so naive. Use your heart to expand. No drugs you take will ever help you understand. This was given to you when you were born. The truth can't be written down on pieces of paper. It can never be torn. Words of light from an artist made of blood and corn.
Goddamn.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was
beautiful.
Thank you for that.
Dude.
I used to do a lot of spoken word, and I gotta say that fucking A, man.
I closed my eyes through that whole thing, and I saw. Were you sitting down the whole time?
Yeah, I was sitting down.
Mm-hmm. In my head, I saw you just like standing up, just like I saw something else. I just had my eyes closed the whole time.
It's very powerful, man.
Felt the fire, dude.
I always like how when writers they visualize their words.
Yeah.
And they it's kind of like a wordplay.
Totally.
And I could see pictures as you speak.
Nice.
I didn't have my eyes closed. I was looking right at you,
Wow.
and I can see pictures when you speak, and I really appreciate when writers do that. I mean, that's when that is to me, you know. And I like to read a lot, you know, literature. That's the marking of a bona fide writer.
Man,
When they could take you where you need to go, and when they could where you could visualize it.
Wow.
You know, Stephen King had that in him.
Right.
Gregory Corso, you know, one of my favorite writers, Charles Bukowski. They all have that knack where like you could see him in a fucked up hotel room eating that candy bar for the day. That's what I saw when you were spitting right now.
You know, I love this kind of a compliment because you took it out of the context of like being like you're referencing other things to compliment a poem, right?
Yeah.
You didn't go, oh, like look at this poet, or this poet did this, or this hip hop artist did this, or whatever. You're referencing, oh, this book by this person, and that's how I write my stuff.
Yeah.
I go, oh yeah, how I write my lyrics is I like looking at visual art.
Yeah.
And I go, well, if they can do exactly what you're explaining through photo or painting, I want to do that through word.
Yeah.
How can I do that? And you giving me this feedback.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I was definitely transcended, man, because like I was lifted, but that got me high. Yeah, that got me high.
That's the intimacy part that I kind of feel uncomfortable with, because I mean, like I said, I put a lot of like, I'm trying to prove something. Like I told you a few minutes ago, I'm from that place.
Yeah.
That philosophy, my heart, my rhythm, my connection, it's from there. And this is how I'm going to prove it, through my word. Just my word. Simple word.
Yeah, and
It's not simple.
I used to be a part of the Leimert Park Poets, and you could just and with that artist we were talking about, you know, you could just tell when somebody has a passion, somebody has a gift, and somebody has skills, and then somebody's just faking it.
Oh,
There's bullshit in it.
I think,
and you know, and it's not that they're bullshitting us, they're bullshitting themselves. That they have the ability to do this, and then when you get like bona fide writers like this guy right here,
I see where you're taking
know?
it, but it's like, I think it's just that voice from our ancestors that we instinctively hear, and it's our DNA, man. Like we just cling to it, and it just makes you fly with the words. Wherever wherever you got that from, you took us there through our native. You know, our native calling, our blood, our DNA, like I saw that movie Slam. The God of voice.
See that movie Slam?
No.
With Sal Williams.
Sal Williams,
Sal
he's a
Williams.
great poet.
Right? So I saw that movie Slam, and he did this spoken word there, and I went, wow, that's such a dope ass representation of African presence.
Yeah.
Like a spirit that just fucking went, this is my human experience being African, traveling through whatever I did and surviving whatever I did. I went, fuck, I want to write something like that. And so that's what I wrote to
That's
kind of go, okay, this is my version of what he just did. Not better. I don't want to be better than him. I just want to write one that is in that same ballpark. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Sal Williams' poem, 0 poem. Oh yeah, that's kind of similar. You know, like not being like him, but like going up to bat. Like I'm a poet too. I could write things about a horrific past.
Yeah.
It's just as good as anyone else. You know.
It's inspiring,
So that's what
man.
came out.
It's inspiring.
Very
It's
inspiring.
like, wow, it's our culture, but you're the God of the voice of that.
Wow, I'm honored. It's
coming through.
I'm honored to
through.
be from Los Angeles.
It's cool.
I'm honored to represent a lot of the individuals that are, you know, giving me props about anything like that. You know, that I carry you guys in my heart, and that I'm a humble servant in that way, because I really love this city. My grandfather came here in the 30s, so we've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and to be a native, who suffered whatever they suffered through, and still be here and still have presence and still have an audience, and just to get compliments like you, bro. I was really honored to get that.
Well, I mean, it's not even a compliment, man. I mean, it's just my honest opinion of your work.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I took it as a good compliment.
Yeah, like, I mean, I really dig it. I really dig it. I mean, when you write, what inspires you to write? Like, is it a moment, or is it something you do every day? Because I mean, like, I have to get inspired. I mean, and I was at a point where like I was like, I have to write a poem a day. I have to write a poem a day.
Right. That makes you better.
It does, but
makes you
like
better.
a lot of those poems suck.
Right. But
They're forced.
yeah. It's-
Yeah.
But that's the whole process. I mean, I remember when I used to write my rhymes. Right? You would probably relate more with me in this regard because it's not poem.
No,
But it was more like, okay, I got the beat, everybody's there. I gotta finish my rhyme, and it's like it just never. Not the best shit I've ever written. That poem took me a long time to write.
Oh yeah.
Took your whole lifetime.
Because I'm fucking with the fine tooth comb. Just
Yeah.
like how did I make my favorite line in that poem is that melts the chain that dries the rain.
Yeah.
Brought here by Spain.
Yeah.
I try to make those words right.
That is crazy. Yeah,
That is that, but make
No,
them
but-
powerful too, man.
But it makes a lot of sense, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When
So
you
it's
metaphorically,
crafting it.
when you metaphorically, you know, it's a metaphor, man.
Yeah.
It just gives you those visuals. I got those visuals immediately.
Right.
I started thinking like, wow, this is a painting in the being right now, man. Like, you know, you could actually visualize.
See, and there you go. Like he just
The artist.
he solidified what I draw inspiration from paintings.
He's one of my muses, man. I mean, like, I listen to his music, I write to it.
Nice.
I see his paintings, I write to it.
Yeah.
Whose paintings?
Keen's, Bahgo's.
I just jumped in. Man, you know what? Now that you guys said that, paintings, you paint?
I don't paint.
Who did your logo, the Elvu shirt? It was like that.
We had several graphic designers, and a lot of artists would pitch in because they were so inspired by the music. They're like, "Look what I drew," you know, and they were just like, "Okay, cool." And then I kind of, for Elvu, I wanted to be, and I'm saying this with a grain of salt, and this is where I really want to check myself. Is like I wanted to be like the RZA, right? Like control all the aspect, control all the concept. And to my detriment, it led to my group not being here anymore.
Yeah.
But I still will not let it go because it's a painting. It's a painting. I'm painting something.
You compose.
You know,
making
now
the
that we're
composition.
talking about
Like you gotta
painting,
trust me, not because I know the right answer, but because this is the result.
You're
Yeah.
composing
These
it.
albums, it's not
Your
just
body of work.
It's exactly. It's not just writing lyrics. It's engineering it. It's mixing it. It's the graphic design. It's the whole thing. And now I understand why the RZA was about that.
Yeah.
you know,
He had a vision.
now that we're talking about art and
The vision.
paintings
That's it. The vision.
and visions and the visual art, you know, let me invite you. We're doing our 420 show.
Oh, cool.
April, 18th, the Saturday?
This Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
This
So-
Saturday.
No, April, like a
Okay.
420
Okay,
type
okay,
of thing.
okay.
So we're gonna be DJing, me and DJ Mino, and we're probably gonna have, you know, we're gonna be playing the music,
Sure.
the audio part, and a lot of my friends, I invited them from the CBS family. But if you would like to provide, lyrics,
Sure.
or paint something for them,
Right.
Or perform.
or spitting lyrics, because it's
Sure.
invite only while they paint.
Sure.
If you would like to come through,
Yeah, that'd be dope.
that'll be cool, because
Yeah.
we're gonna be playing the beats,
Right.
and if you can, do your lyrics,
Sure.
or you see what they're doing and you vibe with that,
Right.
that'd be very cool. And
Yeah.
we're putting that together. We decided today, and a lot of our team, graffiti people, CBS, a lot of my friends, whoever you bring, is gonna be artists here painting.
Sweet.
So if you would like to come through,
Yeah, I'll check my schedule.
extend that invitation to you.
Sure. I'm honored, man. Like I really like vibe with anybody who vibes with what we're saying. And,
Yeah.
and we're on the same page, man.
Yeah, we are.
Exactly.
I like the intellectual part that comes. It's a diverse kind of podcast. You have so many different perspectives, and angles.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I like
But-
it.
Yeah.
And I'm down. I'm totally down.
I had a fucking question I was gonna ask you and I forgot it. Sorry, I got a headache.
It's cool.
So
I mean, I
Pence,
could
don't
share
forget
another-
that
okay.
date.
I could share another poem. I could.
If you
however.
could, you guys want to hear that?
Whatever else.
I want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
do.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Let me record this one.
I can't wait to hear that shit back.
Okay, but before we get started, I wanted to ask you something because
Sure.
what you just
beat
spit out,
something.
it was very carefully written, and
Yes.
I felt it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like talking out of your ass.
No.
Every word was just there, and not one word. It needed every bit of that. Every word in there, it needed to be there.
Right.
There was no, like bullshit. There was no segue. It all needed to be there. Now, do you freestyle at all? You don't freestyle at all because you seem like a very, meticulous writer.
Yeah. No. I forego the freestyle for masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like if I recorded it, and I recorded it onto any kind of track, I felt like it was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And that kind of gives away from the trying to make something rhyme on the fly.
Yeah.
I really want to be specific about what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it seems that way. I was just a lot of hip hop artists are, with my limited knowledge because we got experts here, but they seem to have like a bilingual style. There's freestylers, there's battle rappers, and then there's lyricists.
You could be really good at freestyling.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't translate into an album.
Yeah.
You could be a really good album person, but
doesn't
my
tra-
freestyle's gonna be like, oh man, his fucking freestyle guy sucks.
It's either or.
It's funny because you asked me like, what do I do to get into this mode of writing, and it's usually I'm writing and I think of the first line, and once I think of the first line, that could be I'd be crossing the street, and I think of the first line, and I'm like, and I still don't write it down. And so I go home and then I'm like, oh wait, but this word rhymes with this. And then it's already starting to write itself.
Yeah.
And then you put the beat and then it just evolves.
Sometimes
you put the beat, and I think when I write with the beat, I have to at least hear it 100 times. I have to hear that beat at least 100 times before I start memorizing it and just really crafting word into it.
And on
That's how
that
I do
note,
it.
Chris, Zero, if you would please.
Sure.
Yes.
Well, we'll end it on this or the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Take us home.
It's not my fault I was born with this brown face. It's not my fault that my ancestors didn't understand your concept of race. Dislike a man just because of his tan. Now it's illegal and banned to want to live on your own land. They strip away our children just to plant the seeds of fear in them. U.S.-sponsored terrorism with the force of a Gestapo, no heart like a narco, black hearts like a lump of coal, waving your American flag, all angry and mad as ICE takes away an immigrant dad. This whole world's turning into Palestine, desensitizing the mind, keeping the masses in a loop of time, while the rich elites get away with the crimes against humanity, with arrogance and vanity. This is insanity. Genocide is at the border. This is law and murder by executive order. Shoot to kill like they do all the animals. Beat down the activists and the radicals. This will teach them to think or even question the rule of law. But thieves and liars will eventually fall. Mother Earth will eat them all and spit them out as flowers again. Into the infinite we spin, too complex to comprehend. Swallowed by my mother Tonantzin, where all life ends. Swallowed by my mama Tonantzin, where all life ends.
Damn it.
That's beautiful.
Damn it.
Man.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I didn't even want to breathe, man.
Right? I couldn't take a breath, dude.
Yeah, man.
Fuck it. Oh, dude. I'm speechless. I am. That's fucking powerful, dude.
Yeah, he blessed us. I feel blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Thank
That,
you.
like,
Thank you
that was
very
like-
much for coming down, man. It was
Well, I
really
hope-
an honor to have you here.
That was
hope
like
I
the
was able
spirit
to-
of Martin Luther King. Like, you could hear like you could really hear like the
The energy, dude.
Power.
yeah.
You
I
can
can't
feel
even. I'm speechless. I can't even describe it.
It's like it's you paint interesting colors of frustration
Right.
when you and it doesn't come from an angry place. It doesn't seem.
Yeah.
It comes from like, fuck, get off my fucking neck already, please. I need to get up.
Yes, for them, for my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's how, I'm glad you described it that way, because for over 500 years, that's what's been happening and more.
Yeah.
Now, get it off my kid's neck.
Yeah.
Because I'm here and I'm profound enough to explain to them that they're beyond this reality.
Yeah.
Catch them up with the light of the information of light,
Yeah.
and understand and put them in a perspective to enjoy their experience.
Yeah.
It's the kind of shit you take a deep breath to, like.
It wasn't even the word. It was just like the energy coming through it,
Just
man.
the emotion,
the unsaid
man. It's
stuff
the
is what came
emotion.
through for me for some reason. dude.
Makes your blood.
Well,
just,
that poem was in response to Trump's presidency or whatever people think. Like, if you told me, what's your rhyme about Trump and your take, that's it right there. That poem that I just said is it.
Exactly.
See, mine would have been haiku, just like, fuck that guy. He's an idiot.
Right. I
Trump,
mean,
he's a
obviously, we
Trump.
know, but I have to think in many levels.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's somebody as eclectic as you who is actually well read and all that stuff. And there's people that don't read a book at all.
Yeah.
And so you have to, their version of Trump is like, he's a racist thing. I know he's nothing, but in their eyes, he's such a big thing.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I think about whatever he wrote, whatever he passed, whatever legislation, whatever. My take on that is that poem.
and on
It's
that,
like a man, just because of his tan, now it's illegal and banned to want to live on your own land.
Yeah. I really, really like that line.
on that note, man, really, thank you. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for coming
Yeah,
through
man.
and blessing us.
I'm super honored.
Thank you.
It was fun,
We hate
Yeah.
to cut you off.
We
like
could go
that.
on hours, man.
Yeah, but you know what? You're more than welcome, and we invite you to the 420 show.
Yeah.
If you could speak to the artists, if you want
Sure.
to continue the message, please
Hell yeah.
come through.
Right on.
La Clika Podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. So Rick signing out.
Hectick 1.
Joe.
Chris?
Zero El Vu.
Bahgo 74.
So we're out.